Okay, all right. Let's talk about the evolution of ABM. Uh, that's the first thing. Evolution of ABM. I have been doing account-based marketing and B2B marketing and B2B sales since almost 15 years now. I before that I was working as a developer for SAP ERP, and I have been doing this for a very long time. I'm talking about the early 2010s, where ABM was very different. Account-based marketing, sales enablement was very different. It was outreach was not that easy. Getting the data was not easy. I still remember paying thousands of dollars for Zoom in for credits 10 years back. A few thousand credits used to cost a few $1,000s. So ABM, outreach was something which was reserved for very large companies. The data was not readily and freely accessible. There were a lot of lead generation agencies who used to generate leads. They are still there, by the way. But those lead generation agencies used to generate leads and sell it to these large enterprises at a very hefty cost. Sometimes the cost used to be $6 a lead or $10 a lead, and on the upwards of that. But we are living in very exciting times now in 2025, where the data is readily available. There are so many different data providers, and now the cost of the data has crashed in the market. So from tens of dollars to a few cents, that is how the market has crashed when it comes to lead data, right? It is freely available. If you have access to an Apollo account or a Cognism or Lucia or any of it, you can practically buy data for a few cents. You can practically get the leads for a few cents. That has actually opened up the doors for even the startups and the small medium businesses to go ahead and try out their hands on outreach and ABM and outreach based GTM. Okay, so let's talk about the evolution of ABM. What ABM was. Traditionally, the ABM was, I'm talking about traditionally, when I say traditionally, I'm talking about 5 years back. So that is how much changes has happened in the last 5 years. So 5 years back, things now we are calling it traditional. Nonetheless, 5 to 10 years back, there were traditional lead chasing happening. That means, people used to go and buy the leads from lead generation agencies, or they used to download the leads from Zoom Infos, and they used to just chase the lead. They used to just send the email, give them a call, and they were just cold leads and unqualified leads. And the whole idea of ABM was find out the list of companies that you want to target, find out all the decision makers, and then just keep hitting them with an outreach until you get some response. That is what traditional ABM has been in many ways. The traditional ABM also, since there was so much of human resources that was needed, the automation was not there to a large extent. So there used to be a lot of human resources that was needed. For example, somebody needs to go ahead and find the company information, the contact information, enrich the data, upload the data into spreadsheets, upload it in CRM. A lot of stuff used to happen manually. So companies used to focus only on very high value accounts, and the outreach was very limited. And the alignment efficiency was low, alignment was difficult, and the conversions were a challenge, in many ways. Okay, but on the flip side, the good thing was that there were not too many companies doing outreach, right? So 10 years back, the CEOs and the founders were getting less bombarded by these outreach systems as compared to what it is right now. Since outreach is now readily available, the tools and the data is readily available, which also means that more and more decision makers are getting more and more emails. That's the flip side of it. So there are challenges in whatever you do. But this is how the ABM is now evolving, and I'm going to keep talking about where it is heading, where we are right now, and where it is heading when it comes to ABM 2.0. Let's talk about the dark funnel reality. Okay. When it comes to ABM, account-based marketing, in the traditional sense, people were not really aware of other intent and the signals that the accounts were giving off. For example, suppose you are into heavy engineering company, and you are an engineering design company. I'm just making this up, by the way. Or you are into logistics and warehouse, and you are, giving software solutions or certain type of solutions for logistics or warehouse industry, whatever it is. The dark funnel reality was very fuzzy in a sense. For example, 10 years back, you hardly know what those companies, if you have made a list of 100 companies, and you want to reach out to them, all you could do was make a list of 100 companies, put up a few people, working on top of the company data, and then find out the contact data, and then just simply, start running email campaigns or possibly a LinkedIn outreach campaign, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. There were no other signals that could have been taken in real time. For example, if the accounts you are prospecting is going through M&A, mergers or acquisitions, you were not aware of it. If the account you are prospecting is hiring a new CIO, which is going to change the game in terms of their decision makings when it comes to onboarding new vendors for software, most likely you are unaware of. If your account you are prospecting is going through a funding round, right? Then 10 years back, it was very hard to get those signals. I mean, of course, you can, larger companies, they used to build a separate team, and then they used to work with the Gartners and the G2s and the source forges and work with their business analyst. And so there used to be a lot of work that were put in to identify these realities, but only large companies could afford that. Smaller companies, startups, there's no way they could afford this kind of system and this kind of large team who could continuously prospect and research and find out more information about their prospect. So the traditional ABM was missing most of the signals, right? Whether it is social media, whether it is communities, or whether it is any major decisions happening in terms of funding or acquisitions or any other stuff. It was missing out a huge chunk of signals that was hard to do, and you typically needed human beings to continuously find those information in real time. So that was challenges when it comes to traditional ABM, and the traditional ABM missed most of the signals which are out there. And we have talked about dark funnel a lot in our previous webinar. So dark funnel is the part of the funnel which is dark, right? That means your prospect are doing something. They are looking for your product and service. They are sending out signals, but they are not talking to you, right? So you're not aware of that. Traditionally, what happens was only when the company used to visit the site or visit the social media, fill up the contact us form, then the buyer's journey really started in many ways. So the sales team and the business development team used to just sit and just wait for somebody to fill up the form on the contact us page, and then they used to start doing the prospecting and all. Or they used to just send an email, and then they used to just sit and wait for somebody to reply interested or book a calendar. Only then they used to take up the next step. So that was the hard reality in many ways, for traditional ABM for many years, right? But things are changing now, thanks to AI and automation and other stuff in place. Things are changing now, and things are changing very fast. We are going to talk about that.